XRP is entering one of its most intense live trading sessions of the month, and right now, the entire market is watching this coin test the psychological battlefield around the $2 zone, a level that has repeatedly acted as both a launch pad and a rejection point depending on liquidity, sentiment, and timing. And as we move through this live session, traders across the globe can clearly feel the pressure building on every single candle. The market is showing a fascinating blend of short-term volatility and long-term potential as XRP continues to hold above key structural support levels. But what's making today different is the way liquidity is concentrating between the $1.95 and $2.10 range, tightening the coil and increasing the possibility of a major breakout or a sharp corrective sweep. As the broader crypto environment fluctuates with shifting ETF flows, global macro risk, and Bitcoin's directional cues, XRP continues to demonstrate its unique resilience. Traders are seeing what looks like steady accumulation from mid-sized wallets, while whale behavior remains unpredictable with sudden liquidity grabs, stop hunts, and engineered volatility spikes designed to shake out weak hands. Despite all that noise, price behavior shows a clear pattern. Each time XRP is pushed down toward the lower $2 region, buyers step in with confidence, proving that this support is not just psychological, but also technical. This live session has shown multiple attempts to reclaim the $2.20 to $2.35 range, an area of resistance that has acted like a heavy ceiling for the past several sessions. And every time XRP approaches it, volume spikes, liquidity thins, and traders prepare for the possibility of a breakout that could send XRP into its next major expansion phase. Right now, the technical structure suggests an expanding wedge formation that has been building for weeks, and the energy inside that pattern is getting tighter, more aggressive, and more unstable, all signs that a major move is brewing. The market knows that XRP doesn't stay quiet for long, and whenever it compresses this hard, it usually results in either a fast rally or a sharp liquidity sweep. The question in this live setup is whether the bulls have enough strength to push through that $2.35 gateway. If they manage it with strong volume and sustained buying pressure, XRP could quickly target the $2.50 to $2.60 levels, which historically trigger even more momentum because of liquidity clusters from earlier sessions. But if bulls fail to break through and bears take control, the price could fall back toward the $1.85 to $1.90 liquidity pocket, an area where stop losses are stacked and where we've seen whale-driven sweeps before. Still, the overall sentiment feels more optimistic today, with traders noting stronger market participation compared to previous sessions and watching for confirmation signals like volume expansion, RSI divergence, and clean candle closes above resistance. As we continue this live analysis, the influence of institutional behavior remains a critical factor. XRP has seen steady inflows from funds and ETF-related products, and this is creating a baseline of demand that wasn't present in earlier years. With the legal uncertainty mostly cleared and regulatory clarity slowly improving, more institutions are comfortable allocating to XRP, and that's visible in the market's deeper liquidity and stronger bounce reactions. This doesn't mean the market is immune to volatility, far from it, but it does mean that negative moves are being absorbed faster, while positive catalysts sometimes drive exaggerated rallies. Traders in today's live market are well aware that XRP has a history of making sudden, explosive moves when the market least expects it, and that keeps everyone alert and ready. On the lower time frames, there's a clear tug of war between bulls and bears, with each side trying to force liquidation cascades to gain the advantage. Scalpers are particularly active, exploiting every small wick and micro-range movement to trigger quick profits. But zooming out reveals the bigger picture. XRP is at a critical turning point, and whichever direction it chooses will likely define its trend for the rest of the week. Data suggests that whale wallets are currently distributing strategically, not in a bearish way, but in a way that creates controlled volatility, injecting fear and excitement into the market to feed liquidity. These liquidity games are normal during pre-breakout phases, and today's session feels exactly like that, a pre-breakout environment where patience might pay off more than aggression. Another major influence today comes from Bitcoin's behavior. XRP is strongly correlated with Bitcoin during high volatility, meaning every sudden BTC move sends shockwaves through the XRP chart. This makes live trading sessions like this incredibly unpredictable, but also incredibly profitable for those who understand the rhythm of the market. Traders are watching Bitcoin's support levels closely because any BTC weakness could pull XRP down temporarily, even if XRP's internal structure remains bullish. Conversely, if Bitcoin rallies or even holds steady, XRP will have more room to climb without resistance from the broader market environment. This interplay between BTC dominance, total market cap, and XRP's individual momentum is creating a dynamic live environment where each minute brings new opportunities and new risks. Now let's talk about the narrative side of the market. Because sentiment drives crypto just as much as technicals and liquidity. The XRP community is buzzing today with anticipation, social volume is rising, engagement is up, and market watchers across X and Telegram are calling attention to the tightening range and potential for a breakout. When social sentiment lines up with technical compression, it often sets the stage for major volatility. In previous cycles, we saw XRP go from slow consolidation to violent expansion within hours once enough traders were watching the same key levels. The fact that all eyes are currently locked on to the $2.20 to $2.35 range means liquidity will cluster there, orders will stack there, and any breakout above that zone will trigger a chain reaction of liquidations, FOMO buying, and momentum-driven continuation. On the bearish side, traders are watching the $1.95 to $2 zone because a clean break below that would flush weak positions and open the door for deeper corrections. But so far, the bulls have defended that line impressively. In this live environment, patience and discipline are everything. Traders who rush in without confirmation risk getting caught in whipsaws engineered by whales and high-frequency algorithms. Those who wait for clean confirmation signals, such as a strong candle close above resistance with rising volume and stable order flow, tend to perform much better. That's why today's live analysis focuses heavily on volume behavior, because XRP's price action is often misleading unless paired with volume cues. We've already seen multiple volume anomalies today, with sudden spikes during otherwise calm price action, suggesting hidden accumulation from large players. These moments are often the calm before the storm, the silent stages where whales prepare for the move before retail even notices. Zooming back out to the macro picture, one of the reasons XRP remains so strong, even during volatile sessions, is the growing interest from financial institutions in cross-border payment solutions. The technology behind XRP provides fast, low-cost settlement, and with global finance moving toward more efficient, transparent, blockchain-based systems, XRP continues to stand out as a viable option. This narrative keeps long-term investors confident even when short-term volatility spikes. Live market data shows long-term wallets increasing their holdings slowly but consistently, demonstrating belief in XRP's future potential regardless of today's price swings. As this live session continues, traders should remain alert for sudden liquidity grabs. These are common in XRP, especially when the market tightens as much as it has today. A sudden dip below support doesn't always mean bearish continuation. Sometimes it's the exact move whales use to fill their bags before sending price higher. Watching order book behavior is crucial right now. Thin liquidity pockets above $2.35 could allow XRP to move quickly once that level is breached. And if it does, we may be looking at a powerful breakout candle, followed by an extended run that tests mid-minus $2 levels within minutes. For now, XRP remains at a tipping point. The chart is compressed, the market is watching, liquidity is clustering, sentiment is rising, and traders are preparing for the moment where the chart chooses its direction. Whether it breaks up or down, one thing is certain, XRP will not stay in this tight range for long. The energy building inside this structure is reaching its limit, and when it releases, it will release hard. This live session could be the start of XRP's next major run, or the setup for a deeper correction before a stronger comeback. And as always, traders must stay focused, disciplined, and responsive to the signals unfolding right now in real time. XRP is now pushing deeper into a high-tension trading phase as the market enters a fresh cycle of volatility. And step 2 of this live analysis focuses on the evolving momentum, shifting liquidity zones, whale reactions, and the broader sentiment wave building across the crypto ecosystem as XRP continues to battle for dominance around the $2 region. As the session unfolds, XRP is showing signs of increasing energy, with the price moving in tight ranges that indicate traders are preparing for a major move. And what's becoming clearer with each passing minute is that XRP is no longer just responding to the broader market. It is trying to carve out its own independent momentum structure. The battle between buyers and sellers is becoming more dramatic with sudden liquidity spikes on both ends of the chart. And the way these spikes are forming suggests strategic manipulation by larger market players trying to influence direction before the breakout. Traders are noticing more long wicks, rapid reversals, and sudden walls in the order book, all of which are signs of whales actively testing liquidity. This is shaping today's session into a psychological war more than a technical one, where every shift in volume and every sharp wick becomes a clue about what comes next. With the support near $1.95 holding firm through multiple retests, confidence among bulls is rising, and the consistency of those bounces is creating a foundation for the next leg up, while bearish pressure continues to cluster around $2.25 to $2.33, forming a ceiling that XRP has struggled to break for several consecutive sessions now. The overall technical sentiment is leaning toward a pressure-driven breakout, and the way the chart is coiling on the 15-minute, 1-hour, and 4-hour frames is telling traders that an explosive expansion phase is coming. XRP thrives in environments like this, where a long period of compression builds until the market can no longer contain the volatility, and when that energy is finally released, it tends to move violently in one direction. Traders who have followed XRP in previous cycles know this exact pattern, a slow, frustrating range that gradually tightens, followed by a sudden eruption that wipes out stops and forces massive repositioning across the market. What makes step 2 critical is the confirmation signals forming in the background: rising open interest, strengthening market depth, consistent mid-wallet accumulation, and an unusually high number of liquidity pools forming around $2.28 and $2.31. These liquidity pools often act as magnets during pre-breakout phases, pulling price toward them before the next major move. And the fact that these pools are forming above current price suggests the market is preparing for an upward test. But at the same time, bears are not stepping aside. They continue to set traps with sudden engineered dips meant to shake out impatient longs and open liquidity for a potential sweep. This push and pull dynamic is why XRP's price action appears chaotic on the surface, but when analyzed in depth, it reveals a calculated buildup beneath the volatility. Beyond the technical structure, sentiment is becoming one of the strongest forces holding XRP in this aggressive range. Social media trackers are showing a noticeable rise in XRP mentions, engagement, and live discussions as traders focus intensely on this tightening structure. Historically, whenever XRP social sentiment spikes at the same time price compression hits peak levels, the probability of a breakout increases dramatically. This is because retail investors begin clustering orders around key breakout zones, creating pent-up buying pressure, while whales monitor emotional reactions to execute liquidity plays. In addition, XRP's fundamental narrative centered around crossbow, RDR payments, institutional adoption, and the ongoing shift toward blockchain-based settlement systems continues to keep long-term investors confident, even in short-term volatility. This long-term belief forms a psychological safety net that reduces panic selling, which is why XRP often recovers faster and more sharply than many other altcoins during market turbulence. Today's live session is demonstrating that clearly, every dip is being bought back almost instantly, and the speed of those recoveries shows how active buyers are at this stage. The market psychology behind XRP right now is fascinating as it blends fear, expectation, confidence, and impatience all at once. Retail traders want the breakout now, while experienced traders understand that the longer XRP coils, the stronger the eventual expansion will be. Whales, on the other hand, aim to prolong this phase, using this time to accumulate positions at optimal prices while flushing out emotional traders with fake pumps and sudden dips. The sheer number of liquidation traps appearing on lower time frames shows that whales are actively hunting both sides of the market, forcing inexperienced traders out while building their own positions stealthily. This environment is demanding maximum patience, and those who understand the psychology behind whale-driven market behavior are staying calm, watching for cleaner confirmation signals rather than reacting to every small wick. And those signals are beginning to appear in subtle ways: rising bullish divergence on several oscillators, narrowing volatility bands, decreasing sell-side pressure, and more consistent buy-side block formations around the $2 level. One of the biggest influences right now is Bitcoin's structure, and XRP is reacting to BTC's micro movements with incredible sensitivity. When BTC stabilizes, XRP gains the freedom to explore its own momentum. When BTC shows even mild weakness, XRP is dragged momentarily before snapping back with increased energy. This correlation isn't perfect, but in high volatility environments like today, it becomes a significant factor. Traders today are monitoring Bitcoin's support levels closely because any sudden BTC rally would provide XRP with the fuel it needs to attack the $2.30 zone again. Conversely, a BTC rejection from its current resistance could delay XRP's breakout and force another retest of lower levels. This interplay between the two assets creates a complex dynamic where XRP's trend is influenced not only by its own strength, but by the health of the entire market. With so many variables converging, step 2 becomes the stage where the market prepares mentally and technically for the next big push. And all signs point to XRP being on the edge of a trend-defining move. Order books are tightening, liquidity is consolidating, sentiment is rising, and volatility is compressing into a narrow window where even a small trigger could unleash a massive candle. Whether that candle is bullish or bearish will depend on which side gains control at the exact moment liquidity flips. But the sheer energy building inside this structure ensures that whatever happens next will not be a small move. XRP is known for its dramatic expansions after long consolidation phases, and today's setup mirrors many of the conditions from previous breakout cycles. Right now, the most important thing traders are watching is volume. Volume tells the truth when price action becomes deceptive, and the volume profile today shows increasing strength on bullish candles and decreasing pressure on pullbacks, a sign of accumulation under the surface. This is one of the strongest indicators that the market is preparing for an upward move, even though resistance remains thick in the $2.30 zone. If XRP breaks that level with conviction, step 2 transforms into the launch pad for step 3, a real breakout phase. XRP is now entering the most explosive phase of this entire live analysis as step 3 unleashes the full breakout scenario playing out in real time. And what we're witnessing on the charts right now is the release of all the pressure that has been building for days as XRP smashes through resistance levels that have held it back repeatedly throughout this consolidation cycle. The moment the price broke above the $2.30 barrier with a surge of volume, the entire sentiment of the market flipped instantly from cautious to aggressively bullish, and you can feel the shift in real-time order flow as liquidity streams in from both retail traders chasing the breakout and institutional players using this moment to expand their positions after waiting patiently for confirmation. This breakout candle isn't just a technical movement. It's an emotional eruption, a signal that the market's patience has finally snapped and XRP is ready to show its true strength. As the price pushes into the $2.40 to $2.50 zone, stop loss clusters above previous highs are triggering simultaneously, creating a domino effect where liquidations fuel more buying pressure, sending the price upward with even more momentum. The chart is exploding with expansion energy. Volatility is widening fast, and the order book is thinning rapidly as buyers overwhelm sellers in ways we haven't seen in weeks. Traders who hesitated during consolidation are now scrambling, trying to jump in before the next resistance breaks, and that FOMO-driven pressure adds even more fuel to this rocket-like breakout. What's making this breakout even more powerful is the alignment of technical, sentiment, and liquidity factors all hitting at the exact same time. Volume is skyrocketing, dwarfing the earlier levels from step 1 and step 2, proving the market has finally woken up and is pouring energy into this move. On-chain metrics are flashing green as mid-wallet accumulation accelerates and whale wallets shift from liquidity hunting to directional pushing, meaning the big players are no longer playing both sides. They're now guiding price upward with targeted impulsive buys. In these breakout conditions, XRP becomes one of the most aggressive altcoins in the market because once momentum flips, it tends to keep climbing until it hits a macro level barrier or liquidity vacuum. And right now, the next major liquidity pockets sit around $2.58, $2.66, and $2.72. If XRP slices through those zones with the same aggression we're seeing now, this breakout could transform into a full-blown rally, potentially sending the price toward the $2.80 to $2.95 range in one extended impulse move. The psychology driving this moment is electrifying. Traders who endured the frustrating range are now being rewarded with a massive breakout, and their confidence is turning into conviction as each new candle forms a higher high. Social sentiment is exploding. XRP has jumped to the top of trending crypto discussions. Live streams are seeing surges in viewership, and traders are flooding X and Telegram with breakout alerts. This creates a secondary wave of buyers who weren't even considering XRP earlier, but now don't want to miss the run. As more people pile in, liquidity dries up even faster, creating conditions where every buy pushes price higher with minimal resistance. This is how parabolic legs form, not through steady buying, but through an emotional chain reaction where every participant fuels the next. At the same time, short sellers are being liquidated at scale as their positions get trapped above resistance zones. Every forced liquidation adds more upward pressure to the chart, feeding the rally like gasoline on a fire. The fear among bears is rising, their positions are collapsing, and their forced exits are helping XRP climb even faster. Technically, XRP is now in full breakout mode with a high probability continuation structure forming. The breakout candle is long, clean, and filled with real volume, the exact kind of candle that marks the beginning of a multi-range expansion. Traders watching higher time frames will now start targeting the next major resistance around $2.70 and eventually the psychological $3 level, which acts as both a magnet and a battlefield. If XRP reaches the $3 zone during this breakout leg, a new wave of FOMO could ignite because $3 is not just a price point. It's a psychological frontier, a level many traders believed would take much longer to reach. Breaking psychological levels often accelerates momentum even more, pulling in new market participants who have been waiting for confirmation of strength before committing capital. But what's happening beneath the surface of this breakout is just as important. The whale wallets that were previously manipulating ranges in step 1 and step 2 are now shifting into trend-driving behavior. They're stacking buy walls below the moving price, preventing deep pullbacks, and allowing the rally to climb stair-step style. This creates a safety net that gives smaller traders confidence and discourages short-term panic selling. Whales are essentially guiding the breakout upward, harvesting liquidity from forced exits and late entries while maintaining control over the flow of the market. This coordinated behavior amplifies the efficiency of the breakout, making each upward move stronger and more sustainable. The order book right now shows significant thinning on the sell side, meaning even small bursts of buying can push XRP up several cents instantly, and that's exactly what's happening. Rapid micro impulses stacking into a macro breakout leg. As price moves deeper into the breakout zone, traders need to be aware of the emotional phases unfolding. The early believers are already in profit, riding the wave with conviction. The mid-range traders are entering with confidence now that resistance has been broken, and the late-stage buyers, the FOMO crowd, will soon begin piling in once major crypto influencers, news sites, and analysis channels start posting about XRP's explosive move. When these emotional phases align, it often results in a sustained rally that defies normal pullback patterns. XRP becomes a momentum-driven asset during these expansions, meaning corrections are shallow, dips are aggressively bought, and the trend pushes forward with relentless energy. The next critical moment in this breakout will be the first major pullback. If XRP pulls after testing upper resistance zones, but immediately finds support at $2.35 to $2.40, the previous resistance range, that will confirm a resistance to support flip, one of the strongest bullish signals in technical analysis. A clean flip here would signal that this breakout is not just a temporary spike, but a genuine trend reversal with real continuation potential. Traders will watch for strong wick rejections, increasing volume on bounces, and stable buy-side pressure, all signs that the market is preparing for the next leg up. If these signals appear, XRP could enter a second expansion wave that pushes the price into the $2.80 to $3 macro zone. Sentiment-wise, this is the most euphoric phase we've seen in weeks. Every dip is being bought instantly. Every breakout is being followed by continuation, and traders across the board are aligning in the same direction. This alignment is rare, but when it happens, the results are explosive. XRP's volatility is now expanding rapidly, meaning price movement per minute is increasing, spreads are widening, and the momentum indicators are lighting up with bullish dominance. XRP is behaving like a pressure valve that has finally burst open. As step 3 unfolds, XRP is proving once again why it remains one of the most emotionally charged and technically powerful assets in the crypto market. The breakout has begun, the momentum is real, the psychology has shifted, whales are pushing, retail is following, liquidity is thinning, and the entire market is watching as XRP surges into a new range with unstoppable energy. The next chapters of this move will be written by the strength of buyers, the stability of Bitcoin, and the ability of XRP to hold its newly established support levels. But one thing is clear right now, this breakout is no ordinary move. This is a momentum explosion, a trend shift, and a signal that XRP is ready to attack the higher levels of its macro structure. And as we watch it live, candle by candle, tick by tick, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. XRP is not slowing down. It's gearing up for the next leg of its breakout journey.